Okay, got a new game to try out today. She Could Fly. It's gonna be like an escape roomy kind of game. Heavy emphasis on OCD. We've got an OCD pamphlet thingy here. Even. I loved escape room games in Flash. So, it'd be nice to return to that.
Thank you so much for joining us here to play this digital documentary escape game. I'm Christopher Cantwell, the writer of the comic She Could Fly, which inspired this game.
I'm Martin Morasso, and I'm a comic book artist. I received an email from Karen Berger asking if I was available to do a book with her, and it was like a really nice story, and the mental health issue was pretty important to me.
The idea became She Could Fly, which was the story of a woman who flew through the air, but told through the lens of a 15-year-old girl who was suffering from my exact form of OCD.
Hi, everyone. I am Karen Berger. I am the editor of She Could Fly. Luna is, I think, an archetype for what it's like being a teenager. That feelings of doubt and insecurity, low self-esteem, worrying about what other people think about ourselves and worrying if we're going to make the right decision, and really just trying to figure out who the hell we are. The fact that Chris has suffered from OCD since he was a young child makes the story so much more authentic.
This is a very personal story for me. So good luck, go forth, see if you can escape this game, and you might see me again knocking about in there as well.
I love seeing live footage in games. Don't think I've heard of that comic.
Hey guys, how you doing? Tiger Orchid here. Good to see so many of you online, especially as I'm running a bit late today. Sorry. Hey chat, what's going on? I've got my caffeine fix, got my snacks. So, we've got this new game, She Could Fly digital documentary escape game. All right, so we're gonna have to help each other out here.
Sweet. I don't even have to say anything. Oh, that opens a Martin Morasso's website. Interesting.
Right, just getting used to this point and click and turning around, right? Okay, let's take a look. I love walking games, escape games, but I'm hoping there's no jump scares. Although I love horror games, I'm not that into jump scares.
University of Finest Arts.
Okay, some sort of certificate. Hannah Rampasad, BA in Fine Art. Very posh sister. Good for you. Right, so let's go through. All right, so it's not a creepy Victorian or horror house, or... Okay, it looks nice in here, right? Not creepy at all. Okay, I guess that means no entry? Ooh, that beanbag looks comfy, doesn't it? But we don't have time to sit down, we've got things to do. Hey, what's going on? Don't sit down, no.
Oh?
Okay, you're back, cool. Ooh, I was having a bit of a heart attack there. Look, I can't seem to hear what's going on when we sit in that chair, so might be my headphones or something, but maybe let's not do that.
Anything I can do here? Are all these gonna link to like, yeah, to the website?
It's a piece of the She Could Fly comic book. But why would someone rip up a comic book?
I get good money from those. The reassuring beanbag.
Here we are. It's a letter. What does it say? Poor Hannah. Yeah, I feel sorry for her. I have a heart. I have a heart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A pink elephant. Cute. Okay, it all looks normal in here. It's a bit messy, actually. Well, look here, another piece of what looks like a comic.
Some anatomy.
Tidy your bedroom, Hannah! I mean, to be honest, I'm actually a messy person. But let's not talk about that. Ah! No, I'm only joking. I'm joking. Just pretend there's a jump scare. Sorry. I hope I didn't freak you out. The chat is going crazy. I think we should try the door by the pink elephant.
I did.
Nice, you found all the pieces. Maybe you can read a bit of the comic. I am just... The artwork is beautiful.
Oh?
OCD is really interesting because it can present in so many different ways. I think the unifying theme is it's really about a fear of causing or failing to prevent harm to yourself or to other people. And the ways in which that can show itself are really varied. So worrying about checking things or contamination or causing harm. But the key thing is it causes people a lot of distress and takes up a significant amount of their time. It's pretty common, so about 1 to 2% of the population is estimated to have OCD.
The O part of OCD,
I would have thought that it'd be more.
are intrusive thoughts, images, urges, feelings, something that causes you extreme distress and anxiety. So they might be around the fear of harming people, the fear of being contaminated or becoming ill, the fear of acting sexually violent on somebody. They can literally be about anything, but usually they are against your morals or your identity or something that doesn't sit right with you, something that you fear doing. And the C part of OCD, compulsions, are the things that you do in response to the intrusive thoughts to try and alleviate that anxiety. So that can be anything from physical rituals such as tapping things, counting out loud, or mental rituals like avoiding certain situations, asking for reassurance, or ruminating.
Obsessions can take a host of different forms, which is why sometimes it's hard for people to realize they have OCD. It could be someone worried about causing an accident, like forgetting to turn off the stove. It might be someone with urges to arrange objects in a room until they feel just right. It could be feeling the urge to compulsively urinate. And I'd say that the ones that the public seems to know more about involve obsessions with themes about contamination and germs, symmetry, order, or causing inadvertent harm.
I often kind of think of intrusive thoughts as a kind of spam email. So all of us kind of get intrusive thoughts. It's not just common to OCD. So while we're walking around, we're constantly being bombarded by these spam emails. And most of the time we've got spam filters active. So we kind of, on some level, recognize that the thought we've had is not really relevant to what we're talking about right now. occasionally some spammy thoughts will kind of work their way through to our inbox, and they can be mislabeled as high priority. You've got to like deal with this right now. And that trips up a lot of people when they start worrying compulsively about something, that they take a sort of benign, spammy, intrusive thought and start to prioritize it and treat it like it's something that really is important and does need to be dealt with there and then.
My first memories are when I was 8 years old. My dad had just died, and I remember I started to get these really anxious feelings. And by touching things, touching door frames a set number of times, saying phrases a set number of times before I went to sleep at night, kind of took away that fear.
And that's why it's very important that people get the help at the right time, because OCD is like a bully. It is waiting for you when you wake up. It's constantly there, nagging you, telling you to do things, and the bully tends to grow and make more and more demands as the OCD tends to grow and gets more complicated.
I have a couple of things too. I have to like say credit card and keys, hold them in my hands before I leave the house, and I can't go to sleep at all unless I check the door and know where my keys are. I don't really care about cleanliness or symmetry or any of that. Oh, there's something under it.
There's pretty much always like a really meaningful link between the obsessional thoughts that people have, the thoughts of harm occurring or the intrusions, and the compulsions that people do. If, for example, you're having obsessions that you might stab a family member across the dining table, then the compulsion might be to sit further away from that person or to not be anywhere near a sharp knife. If your obsession was that you might blaspheme, you might do rituals of trying to push those thoughts out of your head or to pray for forgiveness.
My first experience with OCD was when my mum would go to work as a teenager. If she wasn't home by 8 p.m. every day and it was like 10 minutes late, she was 10 minutes late, I would flick switches, I'd be super anxious. And I remember one of the biggest compulsions I had as a teenager was I was doing some exercise at home and I was doing some lunges and I was counting reps in my head, and anytime I got an intrusive thought, I would start the rep all over again. And the next day, my knees were bruised purple because I was compulsively exercising. And that's when I knew something didn't feel quite right.
When I was 12, 13, my mum got a brain tumor, and my OCD kind of manifested in, again, trying to control everything, but I never knew anything about OCD during this time. Absolutely nothing. It waxed and waned probably until I was like 24. This is when I was diagnosed. I had really bad health anxiety. I was convinced I was going to die, and no one could tell me otherwise. I ended up having to go to a psychiatric hospital and stay for 3 weeks. And that's when they diagnosed me with OCD. I was doing so many compulsions to check for illness.
Oh.
Compulsions can also involve other people. An example of that might be is reassurance seeking or excessive reassurance seeking, where people might ask their loved ones repeatedly whether their hands are clean, whether they did something inappropriate, etc. So that can become very compulsive and very time-consuming and interfering as well.
When I was 19, I looked it up, unwanted intrusive thoughts or unwanted scary thoughts, and I found out that there was a thing called OCD, and there was a nickname called Puro for people like me who were experiencing these intrusive thoughts, but who were only using kind of mental, invisible compulsions like thinking over and over a past event, ruminating, worrying, and seeking reassurance from others. There were people who were doing these things, but not washing their hands, not counting, not tapping, not switching lights on and off.
People are often not quite sure why they're doing them, but they know that they do reduce their anxiety. And that's the first thing that they want to act on.
Missing something. Oh.
OCD works as a kind of cycles. When the thought comes along, for me, I'll feel really endangered. And because of that feeling of danger, I feel like I need to do something to get rid of it. So I do a compulsion, and for me, that's an internal compulsion. That, for a short term, alleviates the anxiety. It makes us feel a little bit better. But over time, it tells our brain, actually, you do need to do a little compulsion to get yourself to feel better. So we enter this cycle of experiencing intrusive thoughts, feeling endangered, needing to do a compulsion to get rid of it. So the cycle continues.
I was actually studying abroad in Melbourne, and it was probably one of the happiest times of my life. And then I just got plagued with these really terrifying intrusive thoughts. I won't go exactly into the different thoughts, but yeah, they were just really, really scary and made me fear my own mind.
I think OCD is like an overactive alarm in your head. It's like going around with radio fear on all the time. It really constrains your world, it shrinks it, and it makes you hyper-focused on things that don't matter to anyone else.
When I first realized that what I had was OCD, it was quite scary because I had a certain idea that OCD was just about cleaning because of the way I grew up. I had only ever been exposed to the idea of OCD from obsessive compulsive cleaners. And my mum and I used to watch it, and she used to always say to me, if I don't clean my room, this is what's going to happen.
What it feels like for me is that I'm in a boxing ring and there's someone else in the boxing ring and it's also me, and I'm relentlessly beating myself up and I can't keep my gloves up. I think I use that phrase a lot when things are just feeling overwhelming in my life, which is I just feel like I can't keep my gloves up, I can't keep my guard up, and so you just end up on the ropes, and I continue to feel like I'm being pummeled, right? And that my mind is being relentless with me.
Okay, well, that was pretty moving stuff, and they were real people, right? So watching these films, that's gonna help us. Okay, Can you hear that lock sound? Or someone's trying to tell us something. All right, let's get out of here. Ah, sweet freedom. I'm getting quite hungry.
Not really sold on the protagonist.
Oh. Well, we're back. They want us to find the comic pieces again. Oh, of course they do. Okay, all right, let's try again. Okay, back where we started again. And back in the lounge. Okay, so we know what we got to do, right? Collect pieces of comic and put them on that plinth thingy. Ah, a kitchen. Right. The kitchen is one of my favorite places. It's where the best parties happen. Okay, this card. Who is it from?
Dear Hannah, I didn't mean to upset you about the phone bill comment. I love talking to you, but when I reassure you, it never seems to help, and we go round in circles. Last call was 3 hours. I know you miss your dad. I'll come and visit as soon as I can get a weekend off work. Love, Mom.
Okay, so it looks like these pieces are from a new set of pages.
Unpaid electricity bill. What the fuck? What is that, like a year's worth of electricity bills?
does Darth Vader like his toast? On the dark side. Sorry. Okay, one more. What did the toast say to the psychic? You read my mind. Okay, the door has got a load of writing all over it. Okay, what are you supposed to do though? Okay, what does it say?
Hmm?
Oh, she loves her knitted birds. Look, a funny looking chicken.
Trying way too hard.
What does it say in this notebook? I guess it's Hannah's? I'm a failure, I'm never enough, and I let everyone down. What? Hannah's being a bit hard on herself. Or maybe not. Maybe it's true and she's just bleakly self-aware.
Dear Hannah Rampersad, we regret to inform you. Same as before.
We're getting good at this. Well done, Team Tiger! Okay, I'm never doing that again. Let's watch these films.
It's like a teacher trying to relate to younger students.
I think what's really interesting is that from studies, we know that if you write down or get a list of all of the different intrusive thoughts that people experience, and if you ask experts to distinguish between the intrusive thoughts that someone with OCD has and the intrusive thoughts that someone that doesn't have the disorder has, we know that experts can't distinguish between them. So if we're all experiencing these intrusive thoughts, and the content's not different, the thing that is different is the meaning that we give to those intrusive thoughts.
I would say feeling stuck in a loop with OCD genuinely feels like hell to me. Like if I had to envision hell or purgatory, it would be a compulsion, and I just feel like every fiber of my body is burning, my hands are sweating, I feel anger, and I just feel nothing but distress. And as a result of struggling with OCD, I have struggled with some severely low moods, and it has taken me to really dark places where I would rather just not exist than be stuck in this tornado. It's like there's a hotel that I want to enter, but I'm just caught in the revolving door, and it's really frustrating because I just want to check in and I just want to get on with my day and I can't. And then all these other people are behind me, but these other people are like all the other thoughts that are now coming in, and I can't let these thoughts flow through because I'm fixated on this revolving door, and it's just a blockage between my normal thoughts and me wanting to progress with my day, and I feel like I can't, and it just feels too painful.
Fear and fear responses are absolutely vital for our survival, but anxiety is as well. Anxiety is, at its core, an evolutionary adaptation to us understanding threats that may be occurring and helping us to evaluate how to take action.
So my kind of fight-flight system will switch on. I feel really hyper-vigilant, like I need to look out for danger, like everything's going against me. Physically, that feels like my heart racing, sweating, feeling quite claustrophobic, feeling quite stuck, and needing to kind of get rid of this feeling that's horrible.
So we don't know exactly what it is, what causes OCD. It's probably a mixture of things. So, genes explain probably some bit of it. The environment explains probably a lot of it. And then, people's experiences can also play a role. Sometimes it's very clear. So I've seen people, for example, where their OCD involves lots of checking behaviors. So they find it very difficult to leave their house. And when they were children, their house got burned down because someone forgot to turn the cooker off. Sometimes it's that obvious, and you can make that link, and it makes perfect sense why people get quite preoccupied with these kinds of things. But sometimes it's just completely random. It makes me very, very angry when kind of famous people are saying that they're a bit OCD. It's so offensive. It's unbelievable that people can do this. You would never say this about any other things, like, oh, I've got a tiny bit of cancer. That's great because it makes me thin. But with OCD, people think it helps them to keep their house clean. It's stupid, ridiculous, and makes me very angry. Anyway.
People don't even know they have it because there is such a lack of knowledge around it, and people are ashamed of thoughts they'll have or little compulsions or obsessions they have that, they're frightened to tell anyone they know or even a doctor. So the myths that minimize OCD are particularly harmful.
I think that shame and that embarrassment comes from the fact that we just, we don't talk about OCD enough. We don't talk about the dark side of it. We don't talk about the taboo intrusive thoughts, the embarrassing compulsions. And we need to talk about those more to normalize them, so that when you say to somebody, I have OCD, they don't respond with, oh yeah, me too. I really like my house clean and tidy. They respond with, oh my goodness, that's awful. I'm really sorry to hear that. And they really take it seriously.
Harm thoughts can be, sometimes people fear causing accidental harm. So that's where you're worried that, you might leave something like the stove on, something dangerous on at home. So there's that kind of fear of accidental harm. There is the fear of people causing purposeful harm. So this can take the form that you see with Luna, where you might worry or have thoughts. You might just have these images of harming people that you love the most, in the most gruesome ways.
Or that you're going to be to blame for like a mass incident of harm, or that you have harmed, so that you see a newspaper article that says that there's been a school murder and that you worry that you were somehow involved or somehow to blame or somehow caused it.
OCD seems to turn what the sufferer finds most objectionable into obsessions, then vilifies the sufferer for having them. So people with OCD are naturally people of good conscience. Because the disorder leads them to doubt their goodness, they perform rituals to compensate for any badness and to prove their obsessions are not intended.
I think that the important thing to really understand is that OCD is the opposite of who you are. So it's the opposite of the values that you hold. It would be the loving parents that develop OCD around harming their children.
As a society, we tend to really get confused about this a lot. There's a huge difference between thinking something and doing it. And this is what scares a lot of people with OCD. Just because I've had a thought, does that mean I either want to do it or might be capable of doing it or have actually done it and I can't remember?
So no one with OCD has ever been found to actually act upon their compulsions and obsessions and do something really bad. It's just that they're so fearful of that thing that they feel like they need to do everything in their power to make sure it doesn't happen.
The reason why I want to work with people with OCD is that they tend to be the kindest and best people in the world, because they are so afraid of any harm. They're always nice and gentle people and wonderful to work with. So that's the common theme you see.
Stigma is grounded in the stereotypes of society, and stigma involves sort of separating others from us and it can lead to distancing. So when people think that they don't want to be friends or neighbors or work with people of a certain group, and that can lead to large scale inequality.
You know, there's nothing positive about being OCD. OCD is debilitating and it steals people's lives away from them. And so when there's OCD jokes are made, it really kind of trivializes the severity of the condition and it perpetuates the stigma, and it makes it much more difficult for people to open up and to talk about OCD and to seek help for their problems. Helping decrease stigma is massively important.
More powerful stuff. Wow. Okay, we've watched some videos, we've learnt some things. Great. Wait, what was that noise? Did you hear that, Clang?
Does suck how many disorders have been made into trends.
It's the bread knives. Oh, so every time you watch the film, something unlocks. Let's face it, a bread knife is far more useful than a sword in this day and age, I think. Okay, I know that kind of sounds like I've confessed to something. Please don't get me arrested. Look, I just want some toast. I'm hungry. Come on. Toast. Ah! Toast. Yum.
This is pretty grueling to listen to. This is the most normie shit I have ever heard. Kind of takes away from the rest.
We burnt the toast. Oh, what a genius.
Sweet.
Let's do something about that alarm. Okay, can we just switch off that alarm?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Can I not climb on these?
Okay, the hunger is kind of real now because I can't try switches. Just try the switches. Just try all the switches.
What switches?
Again, do it. Can you do it again? Keep trying the switches. Look, I just make it go away. That's really annoying.
What kind of an alarm is this?
Ah, thank goodness.
Ah, with the OCD theme.
Wait, is that a washing up sponge? No, I'm pretty sure I put bread in that toaster. Wait, is that how we make sponges? Great, we have a sponge. I'm not that much into cleaning. Anyone else feel compelled? Be my guest. You're meant to be cleaning the door, not adding more writing. Well, hey, nice one. Maybe we'll actually get to leave this time. How did the hack... Okay, yeah, we're free. I'm gonna go to the cafe and get some unburnt toast and tea. I mean, I'd love a cuppa. It has to be Yorkshire tea, though. You know, all the rest are kind of substandard. Yeah, sorry. Said what I said. Oh, no. Back in this corridor. Again.
If I found this random streamer and they spoke like this, I would turn away so quick.
Okay, we need to find... What's going on in the kitchen? You take a look. No, take a look. No, you go first. I'm kind of scared.
Gotta wait for them to finish their dialogue.
Is it dangerous? I don't know, I mean, it's not coming at us with fangs or a sword, so I guess it's okay. Not
Sure.
scary, just unsettling. And it's floating. Okay. Floating things I do not like. Kind of make me feel a bit, I don't know, off center. I don't want a hoverboard. I love Back to the Future, but I don't want a hoverboard because things that float are creepy.
It's like they made an AI create this dialogue. I don't know, I guess some people just really speak like this.
There's a note. What does it say? I hate it when people put those little hearts on notes. So soppy. Who is this Ash? Her partner? Yeah, not sure about all those heart things. That's a bit much. The drawer of lost things. Ah, I feel like I want to crawl into a drawer like that sometimes. It's actually made for me. I do feel lost sometimes. Tiger Orchid coming to you with her emotions. No, seriously, I'm actually sharing. Okay, Team Tiger. All right, I'm okay. No more emotions. That post on the wall. What's going on? It's a nice poster, but yeah, there's a bit missing.
Hello?
I understand what I'm seeing is supposed to be water, but does it resemble real water? No, it does not. CJ water, you know, it's tricky. Any ideas how to stop the tap running?
Mm-hmm.
Comics and water do not mix. Who would do that? Hannah's notebook again. Do I love Ash? Do I love Ash? Do I love Ash? Reasons I love Ash. They like comics too, loves dancing, horror film fan, loves nature docs. Reasons I don't love Ash? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Shame. I reckon this Ash person is gonna be a history soon. Oh, this is wild. I like this. Oh, the walls are cracking. Ah, it's a quake! Ah, everyone get covered!
Mm-hmm. Oop.
That was pretty fun. I like that. A flood, a quake, and spooky monsters. What would we call them? Creepy monsters? Nah, that's kind of too Minecraft.
Ah.
So, fear monsters? Yeah, I like that. Fear monsters. After quakes and floods, it's time for another sit down. Let's see what's going on with these films.
Ooh.
It seems like Luna's putting her pin in her finger and doing it in a certain order and twisting it around as kind of a compulsion and something she has to do in a certain order, which I can relate to because when I'm doing compulsions, it often feels like I need to do this part first, then that part, I need to ask this, and if they don't reply that, I need to ask this, or I need to move this in a certain way. And that sense of trying to do things in a certain order can make you feel like your anxiety is going to be reduced. And then if you don't get to do it in that order, it feels like you need to start everything again, which is why for so many people, OCD is so time consuming,
I was only diagnosed with OCD when I was around 16, but I can think back now to being 7 or 8 years old and probably showing symptoms of OCD which are kept very hidden, which a lot of people with the condition do because of the fear of the embarrassment or shame around it. I can remember certain rituals that I did when I was around 7 or 8, which revolved around, I guess, seemingly innocuous things like the microwave being on and having to do a certain dance or a certain tapping ritual before the microwave finished, or eating food in a certain order and counting and thinking that something bad would happen if I didn't do that.
So if children are kind of presenting with OCD symptoms, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go on to have chronic OCD. For many children, it's just a passing phase of doing rituals, and that's pretty normal to grow out of that. Also, though, however, children are often worried about disclosing the thoughts too, and they might not always be that great at being able to articulate what the thoughts are. So you probably tend to notice it more in their behaviors. So tapping things, touching them, blinking, lining up toys at night. These are some of the rituals that you might see much more in childhood than in adolescence or adulthood.
It's shocking. I mean, sometimes people wait 17 years. There is data showing that people might be getting help when they're in the late 20s or mid 20s or something. For some of these people, they've had OCD since they were children.
The pink elephant paradox to me is the idea of your brain almost involuntarily does things without you even realizing. So for example, when people hear don't think about a pink elephant, the first thing that pops into your head is a pink elephant. And that's one of the best ways to describe OCD. You tell somebody to stop thinking about a certain kind of thought, but if the thought worries you and the thought is alarming, it's going to keep being thrown at you. Your brain will make those decisions, those pathways stronger and stronger.
The pink elephant paradox, it's almost like having an itch and someone telling you not to scratch the itch, and now you're just focusing on scratching the itch.
Or like telling someone about breathing and swallowing, how you do those automatically. Then it becomes really weird to swallow and breathe.
I just got to a point where I was in a room and I just couldn't get out. Everything was too scary. Going to make a drink was too scary. Going to eat was too scary. Going to do anything was just a nightmare.
Sometimes, I mean, it will take hours out of my day, and then there's some sort of recuperative period that will also take hours. I mean, even yesterday I had some trouble where it pretty much ate up my entire morning, and then after feeling some relief or release from it, you know, through medication or other mechanisms, you know, then there's the recovery period where I just feel very internal and quiet, and then the whole day's gone.
Physically, OCD feels just completely overwhelming of your entire body. It consumes everything. Your brain is on a 24/7 repeat of itself, just going over the same thing over and over and over again, trying to get out of this impossible maze. It just becomes completely debilitating. You can't think about anything else. But I also it's never stopped me from going out or anything. I'm a very extroverted person, so I like to go out with my friends, and that still is just a distraction. But even when I was with those friends in a really dark spot, not listening to a word they're saying, I'm just getting as drunk as I can and trying to forget what I'm going through.
Over the years, I've built a kind of toolbox of things that can help me get out of it. I think that first and foremost is distraction.
Oh no, this is horrifying. There's more than one of them. You might be cheap, but you are also nasty. Fear, Monza, frenzy.
No. Not letting us pick it up.
I see you're gonna put your feet up again. Oh yeah, that's fine. That's break.
Mm-hmm. Just a distraction.
I'm gonna be honest, I feel a bit left out when you go in there, wherever that is. I hope that doesn't sound too needy.
Oh.
Yeah, this is fun. This is fun. Look, I'm not the greatest dancer, but it's the effort that counts, right? So no stepping on my toes. Right, we better go and check if the door is open. We can get out of here and go clubbing for real, buddy.
Okay.
How many times have we been around now? 3 times? What? We're back here again. Is this still fun? Like, I'm not sure this is fun anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
I feel so tired of this now. I just want it to stop.
I'm trying not to be mean.
Okay. What is going on here? Is this a joke? Just as I thought I wanted to leave, you make it look fun? Oh, a 90s arcade. This is amazing. Okay, we got some money. Let's get this show on the road. Yeah, that's right. I can do a posh British accent.
I thought those were pills.
What's this? A crow or is it a raven? I mean, I don't want to worry you all, but crows symbolize death, danger, misfortune, and illness.
And they're cool as hell. Oh, not this time.
Oh, that little elephant statue has changed again. I love it. Woo! The comic pieces are in the game, and that's pretty fun. Come on, get to the comic piece. Do it! Do it! Do it!
Nope. Crap. I could have come down. I should do this side first.
They're back. Quick. Let's get the comic pieces in place and go watch the films.
Oh, we got the whole page. God damn. Mm-hmm.
When Chris first sent the script for that story and chunk of that page, it's like, wow, that is some word balloon. I don't think I ever edited a story that had so much dialogue in one balloon, but it was perfect.
When Luna's in the car talking to Verna and finally just says all the things that run through her head, to me, that was a scene where I wanted to show how overwhelming that really would be to someone who's not suffering from something like this. Like if someone were to say, which they often do to people suffering from something like this, like, just tell me what's wrong, or it can't be that bad, or what is it? And you really were to take the cap off and open up and tell them everything, it would completely overwhelm them and maybe drive them away, which I think is where the shame element comes from when it comes to this type of OCD or OCD in general.
I think that, you know, when someone finds a therapist, they can really, that understands and can hold that space for them and they feel safe, they can finally, you know, say these things out loud, which might be the first time they have ever done that. And I think, you know, that's represented in that speech bubble where she's kind of letting everything out and kind of telling someone probably for the first time what's been terrorizing her in her mind.
So at the point when my OCD was at its worst, which was around the time when I was at university, so from age 19 to 22, I became completely housebound because of OCD. I had lost all sense of my independence. I completely relied on others 24/7. My friends were essentially carers at the time because I couldn't do anything without the reassurance from others. And it reached the point where it was easier to just stay in the house, often just stay in bed for days on end, because the fear of confronting OCD and getting out of bed, it took too many hours.
I was very, very lucky to get referred for CBT with the NHS, and I had about 18 months, really intense therapy. And I came out and was really well. I thought, wow, I'm cured. Whatever that was, everything's all good. And then a couple of years later, my mum's brain tumor came back. And I had a really big relapse. So unfortunately, she died. And I think it was a mix of grief and OCD. I took a job at Marks and Spencer's, and I took it in the store operations. He said, do you want to be a customer assistant or would you like to be store operations? And I was like trying to play it cool, trying to be really, well, you know, which is kind of more fun. And she said, well, store operations is really hard. You're involved with a lot of the health and safety of the building, you know, locking up at night, checking the ovens are off, all sorts, make sure the fridges and freezers at the right temperatures. And I was like, oh, and she said, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And it was that one sentence she said, the part of me that knows that I'm here for something more was like, yes, I'll do store operations. The part of me with OCD was like, oh dear God, what have you done? So there was a fantastic therapist called Dr. Reed Wilson, and he's based in the States. And I'd read his book, Stopping the Noise in Your Head. And long story short, I contacted him, and we basically used Marks and Spencer's as a training ground. He looks at OCD as a game that you can win, but you need to know what OCD, what his tricks are. You need to know kind of how to play the game, and how to kind of outsmart it. In my head, it's like this self-talk and kind of leaning into that fear. And I use that with all sorts, with learning to lock up on a night, learning to look after the fridges and freezers every time they went off temperature. And I got really, really well, very functional, and could lock the store up by myself.
There's a line from a Nick Cave song that I really like where he talks about, I leapt into the abyss to find it only came up to my knees. And that's what you're trying to do in therapy, is to get people to sort of face their fears and find out that the thing they're afraid of isn't actually going to happen.
Oh, I missed something. Ah.
It was only at a point during university where I started to see the severe impact that my mental health was having on my family and on those closest to me, where I thought, okay, well, I need to do something for them, because I'm not just wasting my life now, I'm starting to really impact on my loved ones. And that's when I went for a course of cognitive behavioural therapy with exposure and response prevention. That was the course where I really absolutely gave it my all. I threw myself in at the deep end. I did the scariest, to me, exposures.
CBT is cognitive behavior therapy, and it's the type of therapy that we offer at our clinic. And the reason that we offer it is it's an evidence-based treatment, so it's been proved to work. And we know really clearly it works really well with OCD, and we're going to help a significant proportion of people using it. ERP is exposure with response prevention, and it's really the active ingredient in it. So it's about helping people to face their fears. The best way to get around an anxiety is to face the thing that you're afraid of. So if they're worried about contamination, we might be encouraging them to start to sort of touch more surfaces and discover that nothing bad happens to them or people around them.
So you can also empower parents who have young children. So when I say young children, 5 to 12-year-olds, you can actually teach them the techniques, and they can apply them at home and help the child to overcome OCD. So we also need to be kind of creative in how we do these treatments.
That was so interesting. So much stuff I didn't know. Oh, I'm so over these creatures. We need to get rid of them for good. Face your fear. Face your fear monsters. Oh, well, we can't do that if they don't have eyes. Okay, I'm back in the game. Okay, I know, I kind of switch. I'm like a light switch or something. I know, I'm always doing that, but I'm back in. Oh, I love googly eyes. They're so useful for so many things. Okay, so what do we do with these? That was hard, but I think they're gone.
Oh, okay. That got rid of all of them.
We did it! Yeah! This must be it. We faced our fears. We're finally getting out of here. We did it! Yeah!
This protagonist sounds like if my aunt decided to become a streamer all of a sudden.
What is this cold, dark place? What did we do wrong? We're trying so hard. Try flicking the switches or tidying some messes. Okay, that's unusual. A phone box in the room? Let's just keep focused. That phone box is... Oh, I do love that elephant. It's getting bigger and bigger. Oh, okay. It's got Hannah's name on the jumper. She's knitted it with no face. Hannah, perhaps you are a bad person after all. Perhaps she's the evil here.
It's got a face.
Ignore the phone box. This is not going to help us. The switch thing works, doesn't it?
Fuck you.
I'm sorry, the number you dialed is no longer in operation. Please dial the new number. Repeat, please dial the new number.
Damn.
Oh my god. What is that? There's a tape across the door. We're stuck in the room. It's probably for the best. Yeah, it's probably for the best. Going out, seeing people, that's so 2019. Let's just stay in here, or at least in the flat, and we can make toast. What's that? Did you just see it? It's a card. What does it say? Oh man, Ash is such a loser. Look at those heart symbols, so lame. And what are those other weird symbols? I don't think Hannah loves Ash. I'm saying it, I've called it. She needs to ditch them, right? I know what. Let's call up Ash and ditch them. Or text them. So you don't have to talk. Yeah, or just ignore them. There's nothing wrong with ghosting from time to time, but let's flick some switches first, right?
This streamer fucking sucks.
What should we do with the scissors? Let's get out of here and dump Ash. Yes, let's dump their ass. We don't need them. It's a letter. What's it saying? Congratulations. You're going to be exhibiting at Thought Bubble Comic Convention. Your artist application has been successful. We cannot wait to see you in November. Your biggest fans, Team Thought Bubble. I mean, that's nice, but I don't think she should go. There's a lot going on that she needs to sort out in her flat, like keeping those monsters away. Another card. Let's check this out. So, we need to keep that person safe because if they come in here, they get hurt by the monsters. You see those symbols? Ignore them. They won't help. So, if Vanya knocks on the door, we'll ignore them, but flick some switches to make sure they're safe, right? Okay, cool. We've got this. Come on, let's ditch Ash, then we can just go to bed and sleep. Or I think it looks like Hannah is a bad person. She is the enemy. This is such a clever game. We thought that she was a hero, but she's the enemy. Okay, now I get it. Let's ditch Ash to save them from Hannah. And flick the switches so we're all safe from Hannah. Cool.
What?
I know it might not feel like this right now, but there are treatments that are effective for OCD. You can get better. This doesn't have to be a life sentence. OCD thoughts can be utterly overwhelming, and it can feel like you have no space in your head for anything else. But there are treatments that work, and people who can help you recover. I understand that these thoughts might make you feel like you're a bad person, but you don't choose those thoughts. They're part of your OCD and they're not part of you. These thoughts aren't your fault, and you deserve support to help you recover.
That's enough of that now. I do not want to listen to that anymore. Oh, wow. I like that the colours come back. It's, less creepy.
When Luna talks about the intrusion of becoming whispers, that's exactly what we kind of, would expect within OCD treatment. So the aim is never to get rid of the intrusive thoughts at all. It's to change the meaning that we attach to them and the interpretation of those thoughts. And once we do that, those thoughts can be there, they can be in the background, and naturally over time, you know, that paradox occurs where they do just become a whisper.
The comfort zone is a huge lie by OCD, that you are, like, you've somehow been convinced that you're comfortable because you're feeling anxiety. It doesn't make much sense to me. Surely, you know, I think there's that saying, life begins outside of your comfort zone, and that applies to everything.
The other thing about rituals is that they're often fake friends. So they promise people, if you do this ritual, I will make you more comfortable, or I will make you more safe. And actually they don't do that at all. They just maintain the sense of threat. So they promise a lot and deliver very little. It's a fake kind of comfort, really.
So the one thing we shouldn't do is put a split in services, and particularly my own profession of psychiatry, we put a split at the age of 18. So if you first develop your OCD at the age of 16, even if you get a diagnosis, you'll be picked up for 2 years by a child and adolescent mental health service. And then it's a rather chancy affair as to whether you'll be picked up seamlessly by an adult service.
How do we deal with such a debilitating disorder? And I think key is having initiatives to increase awareness. I think in schools, when I was a kid, I never knew what it was. I was 8 years old and I was touching door frames every night. I was turning lights on and off like a disco in my house.
For me, the most important thing for people with OCD now would be timely access to good quality treatment.
We also need to make sure we train enough professionals in offering these treatments, because at the moment the problem is that, you know, up to 50 or 70% of people that get referred to treatment get the wrong treatment, and that's due to lack of training among mental health professionals, because there are very few people that are properly trained in treating OCD using cognitive behavior therapy.
Hello, hey.
One of the really rewarding things about working in this area is that on a daily basis we see people getting significantly better or completely better, and it's entirely possible to do. We've got some really great treatments. The therapy works really, really well, and if you put effort into it and really push yourself, you can make huge progress with this.
Luna is obsessed with the Flying Woman because she recognizes a freedom in what this person is doing and a liberation in what this person is doing. And if there's anything that Luna is dying for at the start of the story, it's freedom and liberation. Obviously, it's from her own mind. And she soon discovers that the Flying Woman is looking for the exact same thing. That for some reason, flying has stuck in her craw as a possible answer to her own mental struggles. And there is something just so kind of iconically and symbolically liberating and freeing about flight, right? It's how we look to birds and how we use airplanes and all of these things, and Superman and all of these kind of comic book things that we've seen in iconography. It speaks to an ability to be free from the shackles of gravity and reality in a way.
And for Luna to be able to take that leap, both, you know, metaphorically and literally, is a huge moment for her. And the joy and the exhilaration that she feels when, you know, she can experience that is a beautiful thing.
The biggest bit of advice that I would give to somebody experiencing OCD or somebody who thinks they might have OCD, I think just speaking about it and finding people who understand and who don't react in the way that you think they're going to react to any intrusive thought you might tell them can genuinely be life-changing.
Best piece of advice I can give to someone with OCD is that OCD, like anxiety, is a wave. It goes up, but it has to come down. So ride out the hardest part of it, even as tough as it is, because it does come down, and the more you work on your recovery, those waves get smaller and smaller, and recovery is inevitable at the end of it if you put the work in and look after yourself.
When you get the right and proper help and you surround yourself by the people that love and care about you, you can rebuild yourself. And one thing I've had to learn to realize is that I'm not going to wake up one day and suddenly be happy. That's not how happiness works. Happiness is a skill I've had to work on.
I feel like over time I've been able to navigate through it. And it's just a case of like, I don't know, giving yourself compassion and just making space for those uncomfortable feelings, because there is no end goal to like be fully healed or resolved. I feel like that's a bit unrealistic. I think that's the beauty of life, kind of navigating through a journey.
What was that about destroying the comfort zone? Where is your comfort zone? It's Ash. Get rid of Ash and your mum and your friends. You don't need... yes. Okay, back in the kitchen. So I'm going to make more toast. That the alarm might go off, but we know now what to do. Look, another bird, an eagle. I think we can put this in the bin.
Keep involuntarily skipping dialogue. I really don't think the people behind this know much about video games.
Okay, peanuts. So we can eat those rather than the toast, I guess? Yeah? That's not good. Let's get back in the bedroom and have a sleep.
More.
Let's keep focused and we can play something else soon. We can do it here. We don't have to leave. Oh my god, we don't need to feed the elephant anymore.
More.
It's getting bigger. That's dangerous. What are you're destroying the comfy place. Stop it and get back to the switches. We know that works. Can you just stop that? Flick the switch. Dump Ash. Tidy up that mess. Flick the switch. Dump Ash. That trapdoor is going to be, well, a trap. We're not going to fall for it. We need to stay away from trapdoors. Don't do... Hey, Taika Orchid. This is Hannah. Thank you for traveling with me. I know you've been trying to keep me safe, but I'm not listening to you anymore. This might not be goodbye forever. I may hear your voice again, but my voice will be louder from now on. You are now a whisper. Don't be scared. I'm going outside now. Mum, Ash, Ness, Banya, my comics, and my life. They're all waiting for me. Goodbye.
Okay, so the streamer voice was the intrusive thoughts then, I guess. I don't know if this is gonna be copyrighted. not really for me. It was very barely a video game. I found the video clips really interesting. I would watch a full YouTube video on that. Just that. Like a proper documentary in that style. I don't know why it needed to be a video game. I definitely didn't anywhere near scratch my escape room itch either. Just very thinly veiled puzzles. Those comic book sections too, I would have liked to actually do a puzzle for those instead of clicking those obvious yellow circles. Like really any kind of puzzle in those comic books, and the protagonist is horrible to listen to. Yeah, probably would be better to play without the voice. I would probably recommend you play without the voice. Yeah, I would be very surprised if this wasn't their first game. Yeah, it is their first. €6. I was gonna say 5, but well, that's not bad. Funded by the Academy of Medical Sciences. Well, it's interesting to try new stuff, but yeah. I don't think I'd recommend this to anyone really. But yeah, that's She Could Fly. I'll see everyone for the next stream.